What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about rhythm shooting, and number one, why I am now using it in my team, and number two, how to fade using rhythm shooting properly. Now, that is a feature that has been activated, or added, I should say, in the Season 2 patch that was not added in the Season 2 patch notes, and I think it's a very important feature for rhythm shooting because that was one of the biggest downfalls of rhythm shooting, was the fact that you could not properly RT fade, all I mean when I say RT fade is fade while holding right trigger. Like, do the proper run and fade that you could do with the button. And now you can. So that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video, is how to do that specifically, and just a couple other things about rhythm shooting that are the reason that I am now using rhythm shooting in my team. So before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 40,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, tons of consistent daily MyTEAM content. We really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. And without further ado, let's hop right into it. So, with that being said, So first things first, the thing about rhythm shooting is yesterday they made a couple of changes to rhythm shooting. Number one, in the patch notes, they gave a slight, I guess, buff to rhythm shooting with the way the pro stick works. It's a dribbling buff as well. As y'all can see, it says right here, which one? It says improved responsiveness when dribbling or shooting with the pro stick, and also reduced delays with catch and shoot. So the pro stick has improved responsiveness when shooting with it, and it reduced delays with catch and shoot because there were delays with catch and shoot with the pro stick. And so now rhythm shooting is smoother, more responsive, and more accurate. And that's something that I actually did notice yesterday while I was playing the game, is that rhythm shooting feels a bit more responsive now than it did. And I think that's a pretty big deal because rhythm shooting was already good, no doubt about it. But now it's in a position where I think it's a little more responsive because it certainly wasn't always responsive. Like, it definitely wasn't. I'm not going to sit here and say that rhythm shooting was phenomenal, but now it feels a lot more responsive, a lot more accurate, less load ups, and that's something that I think that change tweaked a lot, and that just helps rhythm shooting in general. And then Mike Wang drops this tweet yesterday at 11:09 and says, forgot to mention the patch notes. You can do RT phase with the pro stick now. Drive laterally across the court and hold R2 plus right stick up. So right stick up, not down, for rhythm shooting with a fade, because if you go try to rhythm shoot a fade and you hold right stick down, you'll get that animation, which you can rhythm shoot out of it, and that does create a lot of space for a lot of people. That step back jumper type shot does create a lot of space, and it is a shot that you can actually rhythm shoot out of. But more importantly, to rhythm shoot properly, just to make this completely clear to y'all, in case you're not wondering, all you gotta do is run and rhythm shoot from top to bottom. Instead of bottom to top, all you got to do is rhythm shoot from top to bottom. And so I just messed that one up accidentally. Fingers slipped. But all you have to do is that. It is really not particularly hard. I will say the green window on it feels a little bit smaller than the green window for a wide open shot, but as it probably should. And it's something that I'm going to have to learn. And I think y'all are going to have to learn too if you are rhythm shooting, but it is something that is really useful because the only way that you could fade prior to this with the stick was to let go of right trigger and then rhythm shoot with the stick. And you could get like this type of fade. Okay, it didn't even give me that animation that time. But like, you could get an animation where you kind of, why is he not shooting? Where you kind of like, it's like forcing me into a go-to shot right now for some reason. But in game, you could come off a screen, rhythm shoot, and let go of right trigger and get like a certain amount of fade. But now you can actually like effectively, it's forcing me into a go-to shot when I do that now. But now you can effectively right trigger fade, which is something that creates a lot of space, especially with a player like a Devin Booker who has a really good right trigger fade. So that's something that's definitely worth labbing. And honestly, I think it makes fades easier to green than they are otherwise without the rhythm shooting. So if you get good at this, just like with wide open shooting, I think it will make your shooting more consistent and more accurate with the rhythm shooting. And as y'all can see, the load ups are basically gone with rhythm shooting. You don't get any sort of delay when you catch the ball and shoot it. It is very smooth, very easy. Honestly, my only struggle with rhythm shooting is just getting the timings down consistently, and comboing it with the dribble stick is still a little bit tough. I mean, I've only been dribbling for shooting with the rhythm stick for about a week. It's something I had just started at the end of season 1, but it is something that I think has now been improved even more. And I've heard that in the park, the button is buffed big time and you can green like every single shot. That does not seem to be the case in my team. I think rhythm shooting is just as good, if not probably at this point better than the button, although it may have always been better than the button, but now especially, I would definitely say rhythm shooting is kind of the way to go with shooting in my team specifically, because I mean, it's not like a humongous difference. I'm not going to be one of those guys who sits here and says, if you're not rhythm shooting, you can't win, because that's not true. That's absolutely not true. But the amount of different shots that you can shoot with rhythm shooting, for example, off of like an escape, a moving shot with rhythm shooting is a much more consistent shot. Like Devin Booker's escape puts him on the move. That shot is much easier to time with the stick, although I did just miss 2 in a row. But this shot is much easier to time, I think, with the stick than it is with the button. Now, you can green it with the button as well, but I just think the stick gives you a little bit more versatility, because with the button, you have to know what exact load up or what exact animation you're getting every single time. With the stick, it's a bit more forgiving. So like you can adjust as the shot is put up because you have a bigger green window. And yes, it's different and it's uncomfortable because you are shooting with the stick instead of shooting with the button. And I find myself still shooting with the button occasionally. But for the vast majority of players in this game, I think the stick is the way to go at this point. I just do. The only player who I would say that is not the case for sure is Tracy McGrady. For whatever reason, I just greened that one, but his rhythm shot as a whole is not super consistent for me. I am getting a little bit better with it. You just got to be slower on the tempo, but his rhythm shot is really easy to miss. See, there you go, right there. I shoot it very fast for no reason. But he is a tougher card to rhythm shoot with for sure, so I just generally shoot with X with T-Mac, and that seems to work just fine with him, especially because he's got the high ratings. And I feel like rhythm shooting, the most important part about rhythm shooting, to be completely honest, is the versatility that it gives a low 3-ball player. So for example, Ronnie Cycli is my lowest 3-ball player that I actually use in my lineup. He is a much... Okay, messed that up. But he is a much better shooter, is something I have noticed from playing online the last couple days with rhythm shooting than he was with the catch and shoot. And I'm not saying I wasn't greening with him off the catch and shoot sometimes with the button, because I definitely was. But I feel like with rhythm shooting, I'm greening probably 60% of my threes with him. I mean, he's knockdown now, and that's something that I think is a pretty big change. And it's going to be interesting to me, to be completely honest, to see shooting with rhythm shooting in Season 2, how much better I wind up shooting in Showdown or online modes than I did in Season 1. So I feel like I was a pretty good shooter with button. I feel like I was having a pretty good amount of success, but I do feel like I just greened an animation, like a fade animation with Ronnie. Like I feel like you can just green more versatility, have more versatility in terms of the types of shots that you green and the shots that you're able to make. And so I wasn't able to hit that one, but as a whole, I am a fan of this rhythm shooting because it just gives you more versatility and it's more forgiving at this point in the game. And so that, especially with the ability to actually properly fade now, really, I think, unlocks rhythm shooting overall. So for me, I'm going to be fascinated to see how I shoot in Season 2 using rhythm shooting, and it'll be interesting to see if they continue to adjust the shooting with a patch. But I shot about 46% from 3 in Season 1, so it'll be interesting to see how I shoot in Season 2 compared to that, if I wind up shooting better or worse, making more threes, all that type of stuff, because rhythm shooting is looking like the way at this point in my team. So with that being said, that is going to do it for this video. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.